to young parents out there who is about to have children, because it is about smart parenting, and the topic that we're going to talk about specifically is fear versus respect. And when that comes to my mind, the first thing that comes to my mind is traditional parenting and also modern parenting, because I kind of noticed that a lot of the more traditional parents, they rely on fear as opposed to modern parents who rely on respect. But is that the case, Arene?
Well, of course, it is debatable, talking about fear versus respect, it is definitely debatable, and a lot of questions can be raised when it comes to parenting as well. It sometimes can be taken a bit of a sensitive side of people, you know, when you judge someone for the way they raise their kids, or it can be something sensitive to be talked about. But anyway, when you said modern and traditional parenting, it does over the years, I'm not an expert, we do have an expert in the house which we will talk about. Talk to him shortly, but of course over the years parenting styles has definitely changed. I would say there's a lot of influence to it as well, the change in technology, online, internet. There's a lot of things that influence the style of parenting. So of course, like I said, I'm not an expert, so we bring in an expert just for you guys, just so we can give you a better understanding. And of course for us, maybe when we become parents in the future,
we'll be taking notes for sure.
We're taking notes here at the side. So anyway, we have with us today, joining us in studio, Coach ZAID MOHAMAD from Smart Parenting Coach. Hello, Coach ZAID.
Hello, good morning.
How are you feeling today, Coach?
Good. Very cold though.
Very cold, yeah. Because Coach, you came in super casual today,
Sunday, right? Yeah.
Sunday.
So.
Casual Sunday. So, Coach, of course, you're an expert in what you do, smart parenting. How would you describe smart parenting in your own words, since you're an expert? How would you tell someone, like, what is smart parenting? How would you explain it?
All right. Okay, I get these questions a lot because I set up an organization many years ago doing this kind of smart parenting activities. So I caught what you said earlier. It's a changing in times because parents are smarter, smarter, and kids are also even smarter than the parents. So we got to be smarter, smart parents in order to raise brighter kids and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it's because of the changes in the ICT, information communication technology, and like Nabil said, the traditional parenting is very true. It's very hands-on. Remember last time when when I was growing up, my parents used these hands. They call it parenting by hands.
The power of
the power of the hands. They didn't talk a lot. I remember my own father hardly had few words every day, very few words. But he communicated with hands. Say, you want to go out, and let's say it's raining, whatever. Daddy, can I go out? Of course, I call him Ayah, right? Can I go out? He didn't say anything, just do like that. Would you go?
That is, talk to the hand.
Talk to the hand, yes.
Nabil.
Talk to the hand.
Definitely you won't go, right? What if you disobeyed? Talk to the hand, you come back, the hand will talk to you.
Oh, yes. You get as close as possible.
Yes.
Oh my God.
You get whacked one time, and that's a lesson we learned. I got whacked a few times, and I didn't take it badly. I take it as a lesson, and I changed to become a better child because of that. But I tried the same experiment with my youngest son. One day I was doing some work, and he said, "Hey, Daddy, can I go out?" And it was thunderstorm and raining. I said, "Okay, let me try the method, talk to the hand." I just do like that. You know what he did? Face full of smile, came running and gave me a high five. Thank you, Daddy, I love you.
He perceived it differently.
Totally didn't work. And that's kind of highlighted the difference between the old and the new. We see the hand like this, it's like, oh, no, it's fear, right? But the kids today, when you put the hand like this, they see it as cool. It's, wow, you are very, like a...
Oh, he's in full support, right?
Full support, yeah, go and give me a high five. So yeah, that's where we are today. So that's why, smart parenting, how do we understand these things, things that may have worked before. And we don't want to lose the old ways. I'm not saying that the old ways are all bad, no. But we have to kind of adapt it with times. Hence the smart parenting.
Right,
I mean, it's a matter of perception, really, right? I mean, you're talking about we do not want to lose the old ways. Is there some merit to this old school style of parenting? could fear be a good thing? I mean, what are the consequences for children who have been raised in this kind of parenting?
I like to use this. Fear is good, but we cannot rely on fear alone to raise our kids. It's called situational parenting. So we got to be smart. Another way to answer Irene is that you got to be smart in terms of adapting your behavior with the situation. It's called it. I don't know if you have heard of things like situational leadership, where you behave, you act according to the situation. Same thing with parenting. Fear and respect, we need both, but we cannot be like ruling by fear alone. I would say, okay, I take an example of fire. Let's say you saw, God forbid, you saw a fire coming out from a corner of the house, right? Even if you are the nicest parent in the world, you never yell to your kids, you never, raise your voice to your kids. But when you see a fire coming out, what is the best action at that time? Is to yell.
To induce fear.
Yeah, induce fear and get everybody out of the house. And suddenly you have to use force. Like, really take them out. It looks very harsh, but the situations requires that. It's a fire. I mean, you don't go and take a picture and put in a family group, right? Hey guys, what do we do with this fire? No, right? That will be a wrong action. Then the question is, fire doesn't happen every day at our home. It's very rare. So we need to balance with our action. Most of the time, then we need to use the motivating approach, like the respectful approach, no yelling, more talking, dialogues, and that kind of thing. So yeah, it goes back to the situations. Yeah, we need both, by the way, but I would say more towards respect, because kids are smart these days, kan? So if you use harsh words and all that, they may not respond, but they resent. So respond versus resent. That could be the consequence of fear and respect.
Definitely. And of course, talking about like traditional and modern parenting, I would say we've actually lived on more on the traditional side of parenting. I would
You
say
guys
parents
also.
older.
All right.
Yeah, exactly. My mom's favorite tool would be a hanger.
Wow.
Okay.
No, but not in a very bad way. Of course, she did. It's a good way to discipline children as well. She did raise us well. Well, shout out to you, Mom. How about you, Nabil? What was your mom's favorite tool?
My mom, she does not have a favorite tool, but my mom, I think, would say to be the gentler side of my parents. My father is the one that I'm usually scared of. Whenever he raises his voice, I would crawl down into fetal position and just probably cry.
Not for me though. I'm a daddy's girl. So mommy hits, run to daddy. But anyway, like talking about, sorry, like cut you down there. Talking about fear and respect, right? Because we're looking at a retrospect where people sometimes have a hard time distinguishing the difference between fear and respect. They discipline their kids, but you don't know how they are actually reacting to it or how they are feeling it inside. Can you maybe tell us how people can actually distinguish the fear and respect and the way of their parenting style?
Okay. The best way I would say to highlight the difference is to look at fear is usually forced to you. Comes from external, like you fear your dad, you fear your mom, right? You look at them and say, oh, okay, it is forced onto you. But respect is earned. So respect is something that you have to give first before the other person respect you. For example, and it also comes with power play, because parents have power. It's a position. Parents is a job. If you look at the parents, will be equivalent to bosses at work. Some bosses are very fearful, right? You look at their face, oh, okay, and you get the work done. Some bosses are very, like you respect them, even if they are not there. You will fight for them. You want to do your best. So same thing with parenting. Kids, when you are forced, kids will follow the parents because out of fear of the hanger, right? The belt, the Malaysian favorite rotan.
The classic. The rotan, yes.
That's like a parenting tool, right?
Yeah.
The only tool you need is like the rotan. I mean, it induced that kind of, for some actions, good actions, but the question is, what happened when we are not there? When modern parents all worked, 2 jobs, both husband and wife working. So when there is no respect, then the kids feel, like when you come to work and the bosses are not there. So they,
We've been there before.
Oh yes. Bosses want to take leave for 1 week. Hey, boss, can you go for 2 weeks or not? I want to have fun in the office. Because that's a type of fearful boss. But if imagine if the kids are respectful for their parents, they will not do things that will hurt them, even if the parents are not there. Let's say if they go to school, they will carry this feeling in their hearts, right? Okay, carry the good names of the family, of parents, so they will not go into it doing something, something ridiculous.
There's also more love there, I would say.
Definitely more love, because fear will, and I've seen cases where it's excessive, extreme fear, and the child grow up and want to detach from the family. And so happened that the child went overseas to study, and he didn't want to come back. He said, I will not come back for as long as at that time his father, for as long as my father is alive. So that it kind of signal a very strong fear, and once they get away from it, they don't want to come back. There's no love there, I would suppose, yeah.
Just now, Coach ZAID, you mentioned something about smart parenting activities.
Yes.
Because you run seminars, you run
That's right.
courses
Yeah.
on smart parenting. And now I'm wondering, because maybe there are people who are watching out there who is coming across this topic for the first time, and they're realizing that, okay, maybe all this while I've been using fear-based parenting, and he wants to move over to respect-based parenting. So maybe can you enlighten us on some of the activities that you're doing? How do they cross over to this other side, to I would say the better side?
Right. Very simply, usually in our programs, among the first thing that we do is something simple, which is even hugging your kids. You can tell, I mean, as an experienced coach, I can tell whether the parents practice fear or respect, the way they hug their children. Remember, it goes back to power play. So if the parents are not respectful to the kids, they will hug their kids. It's like they are at the higher level. You're standing up, and the kids you expect the kids to come and hug you. Standing straight, and they come and hug me. I'm your dad. I'm your mom. I have a power over you. You come and hug me. So the kids will come and hug, and they will just like quite passive. They just stone like that. But when we train them, we say no, that's not the right way, because for a hug to be effective, to help foster this respect, you got to remove this level thingy. This position. That means because you are tall, right? You got to kneel down. So make it eye level. Actually make it heart level, because it's love, right? So it's like your heart kind of touch, physically like that. Means you have to kneel down. But if you have a knee problem, yes, you can get your kids to stand on a chair or something, as long as it's the same eye level. And then you initiate, because you are more powerful, you are higher level, you initiate the thing. Just like when our boss come to office, the boss would like to use power play. They expect you to come and, okay, good morning, boss, and all that. Versus another boss that come, hey guys, good morning, how are you guys doing today? How was your weekend? It's very different. So it opened up that kind of avenue for the subordinates to open up and to talk and to respect. Same thing with kids. The moment the parents come home, let's say I practice this myself. When I come home, I want to come home in a happy mood. Even though I just had a fight earlier. I have a lot of clients, and I run a business myself. Of course, it's like turbulence, right? But you cannot bring that home, because it's not fair to the kids. So my way to tell the kids that I'm happy is I play with the doorbell. The doorbell, right?
Oh, okay.
I just do a ding, and then make it long. Ding. And then dong, and it's a signal to the kids, oh, daddy's home and he's happy. And that time they were growing up, 3 of them will line up and open the door, the 3 of them line up, and they come running, and I just crawl on the floor. They come all sides. This side, the back side. So just just go, and it's happiness.
That's a really nice picture.
Very good. And totally, I forgot what was the fight that I had just now. All gone. It's like you're coming home. It's a detoxification. You feel like, oh, this is real home, where your kids really make you happy, and then the next day you wake up, you're ready to face the world again. So that's the power of respect. Rather than you come home and you dump all the anger, all the frustration that you didn't get out there. Because your kids are, definitely weaker physically, emotionally, and everything. And this is what happens when parents tend to abuse their kids. They let out their anger and they become very fearful parents. So for parents who are watching, just audit yourself. Which type am I? Am I the type who goes home and unleash all the anger to our kids? Or are you the one using the kids to detoxify yourself? Make the right choice, I suppose. Yeah.
So, of course, Coach, because we've been talking about how the traditional side of parenting, modern side of parenting, there are a bit of similarities, but there are also ways where modern style parenting is, I think, is a bit more mellow now compared to before. There's less of, there's no more lot of rotan going around and everything. I still remember my mum pergi pasar malam and then she'll come back, she'll bring food and also a new rotan.
So which one first, rotan or food?
So, but sometimes parents worry whether they go overboard with their children, or even if they are too mellow with their kids, you know. Sometimes kids tend to overstep them, or they don't follow, or they don't go in a way of respect for the parents. What would you advise for parents as such?
Very good observation, I would say, and that I've seen that happens as well. It's like you're going to the other extreme. It's like, okay, whatever you do, you can step on my head, whatever, I don't care. So it's like crossing the line to the other extreme versus the other just now, always, you know, rotan all the time. So we got to be somewhere in the middle. And again, the situational guidance will help us to make the right decisions. For example, I've seen many cases where parents go to the mall and the kids misbehave, right?
Oh, a
and
lot.
they're like, oh, what do I do now? And you know, kids are very smart. They choose their battle very nicely.
They do, don't they?
Oh, they do.
They do that at home, they will fail. They will get whacked, right? But they say, okay, this is a mall, a lot of people watching, and the best place is like the concourse, where it's like, oh, this is my stage.
Yes.
And there's a lot of people resting and watching. This is where I'm going to act out. Let's say they want an ice cream or toys or something, the parents are quite strict, don't want to give in. That's when they started with jumping, crying. They see the parents running
I've
around.
seen that before.
Yeah, and then the best weapon is they roll around while crying. And usually at that time, okay, parent will give in. Okay, go, let's go take whatever you want. And also, when it comes to gadgets, I feel a lot of parents lost the battle as well. You know, the kids are making noise and Hannah, take the gadget and play whatever you want. So that would have gone to the extreme, to the what do you call it, free and easy, no control. That is also wrong.
Actually, the kids have the control in this case.
Yes, I would say the parents have been bullied by the kids. If you look at this whole thing, it's always three characters: the bully, the victim on this side, and there's a hero in the middle. So what we want is to be the hero in the middle. If we listen too much to the kids, we become the victim. Like the handphone just now, kids bully us through crying, tantrum. Take the phone lah, and then we lost it. Or the other cases is the parents bullying the kids is common, like you know, whacking, abuse. So the kids become the victim. That's very common. But nowadays, modern parenting, many parents are the victims of the bully. So what we need to move to the middle. Be the hero. Be assertive. You know, don't give in too much. You know, have some conditions. Okay, you want phones? Yes, 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, I want it back. You're going to be firm at that time. No matter what.
Restrictions and boundaries. Set it.
Right?
Set the boundaries and boundaries, then you become a hero. And after a while, the kids will learn, oh yeah, my parents, I cannot play with my parents. I cannot bully my parents. They are very strong. And they are being fair to me. It's not that you cut off totally. You give, but there's some conditions, terms and conditions attached.
I would say my sister, after listening to Coach, I'm definitely going to say my sister smiling watching this at home. Because she does this actually. I have a lot of nieces and nephews. So she does that where she set a 20-minute limit for gadgets every day. So she does that. So, okay, you're doing something good according to Coach.
Yeah, that's good. Please continue to do that. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I think you're talking a lot about adaptations here. I like how you turn it around, that the parents can be the victims as well.
Yes.
And I want to kind of move it up a bit because kids grow, they become adults, of course. And sometimes parents, they fail to adapt to the changes. They keep being their own selves, even though it's 20 years ahead. I wonder, in the shoes of the kids themselves, is there a way for them to talk to their parents, to tell their parents that, your way of parenting is giving me negative consequences. Is that possible, Coach Zaid? What do you think?
think so.
Actually, I just want to add on to Nabil's question because you actually mentioned in your point earlier where older kids, when they go overseas and whatnot, they don't want to come back, return to their parents because of how they've treated them during the childhood and when they grew up. So what would you tell them actually? Because the way they grow, the way they've been is also based on how they've been treated in the past as well.
Yep.
Very true. And both of you raised a very good point. This is also adaptation. It's also smart parenting. I mean, you can use the same method when they were 5 and they are 15. It's totally different creatures. In fact, someone said teenagers are the most misunderstood creatures in the world.
Wow.
I said, why? Why? Because they are, for the parents, they are my children. They are treated like little kids, but expected to behave like adults. So put yourself in the teenage
tricky
yes, very tricky period. So I think that's what Nabil was trying to get at. Parents needs to move their style or parenting approach according to their ages, definitely. And now I have 3 adult children. It's very different. At first, I got confused myself. Say, why are they behaving this way? Why are they? Then I realized they have their own face. They have their own life. I got to let go. But if you have built a strong foundation, I think what Ali mentioned earlier, if your foundation is strong, they will come back to you. So the thing of the first 10 years of the child's life is building that foundation of love, I call it. Building that feeling. And then the next 10 years, don't expect they will, respond to you. Don't expect them to be like the little angels. They go into the teenage years, very rebellious, very demanding, and it's like, driving you nuts. I would tell parents, right? If some parents, they think waking up 3 a.m. in the morning to change diapers is difficult, I say good luck, because the real difficulty comes when they are 15.
Wow.
When they no longer need diapers changing, but they need the mindset change, and all this emotion come in, and that's when you really battle. But if your foundation is strong, you'll be okay. It's like flying kites, like sometimes you have to let go. But during bad weather, strong wind, you have to pull them back, So talk to them in that kind of analogy. I think they will understand. But if you are the child, and you see your parents are not changing, let's say I'm 25, let's say, and my parents are still treating me like I'm 15. I think first thing you need to do is to forgive them. Forgive them that they are not perfect. There's no parents who are perfect. Forgive them, accept them of who they are, and just go along. Just go along. Enjoy it. Enjoy being treated as 15, because the world will not treat you as 15 years old, right? The world will treat you like whatever, like all these responsibilities. So I take it positively. Okay, go home and manja a bit. Let them, let them whatever do. Just be the child that they want you to be. And then when you go home, that you build a good relationship.
That is beautiful. I mean, you talk a lot about good foundations, good relationships, respect, definitely, and love. And we would like to thank you so much, Coach Zaid, for coming
My
here
pleasure.
and sharing your tips.
My pleasure.
I'm sure there are a lot of practical things, activities that can be done. If you want to know more about Coach Zaid, of course, you can just search for him, look for him on Google, ZAID. MOHAMAD, and then you'll be able to follow his courses. Smart Parenting Coach. Be able to follow his courses and seminars. Thank you so much, Coach Zaid.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me as well.
And of course, parenting is always different for everybody. You follow your style, but of course, as Coach said, make sure you guys straddle in between. Don't go too much to fear. Don't go too much to respect. Straddle in between.